Hey, what's up, people? Welcome to my review and in depth analysis for the novel Star Wars The Old Republic Deceived by Paul S. Kemp. And I just want to say right away that I thought this book was amazing. If you are a fan of Sith lore or Sith legends or stories about the Sith, then this is highly recommended, especially if you are familiar with the Old Republic video games. Now, I've never played the Old Republic video games, but I have played Knights of the Old Republic. And again, this right here is just another great story about a Sith, Darth Malgus, that really captures the spirit and essence of Star Wars, namely the lore. I really love Star Wars books because of the lore they create. They create this mystique, and I feel like it makes the universe so much more believable and interesting and full of mystery, and it's just a lot of fun stuff. So, in short, this is a story about Darth Malgus and a Jedi named Aaron. And I really like this story specifically because there is this duality that both the characters are dealing with, and they see similarities and commonality within each other. And it's kind of scary for Erin because she is seeing herself in a Sith. But for Darth Malgus, it's actually intriguing because he is seeing himself in a Jedi. So when they see the similarities in one another, it really makes for a great story. There's a lot of intrigue and a lot of excitement in this novel. So let's begin this review, an in depth analysis of Star Wars The Old Republic Deceived. So, our story begins with being introduced to a character named Zerid Kor, who is a male human smuggler and a former Republic Army commando from the Havoc Squad, who later joined the Exchange, which is a criminal organization of smugglers. Now, this story takes place during the Great Galactic War, the start of the war between the Republic and the reconstituted Sith Empire. So there are many Sith at this time in the history of the Old Republic. It's not like in the prequels where there's only two. So this is before Darth Bane. Now, Zerid is in deep debt that he owes to the exchange, and he is currently working hard to get his handicapped daughter some prosthetic legs. And he is in the middle of a job dropping off laser cannons, grenades, and ammo at a planet named Ord Mantell to a guy named Arrigo. Now, he is then ambushed by pirates who killed Arrigo. He fights and uses his ship's guns to kill them all, leaving one container of the grenades behind. And he would regrettably have to explain this loss to a character named Orin, who is basically his handler from the exchange. At this point in our story, Sith Lord Darth Malgus, who wears a mask respirator after a grenade exploded in his face and severely damaged his mouth and nose, is on Coruscant preparing for its destruction and the destruction of the Jedi Temple. He recounts a vision that he had on his pilgrimage to the Sith homeworld of Korriban, where he would destroy the Republic. His servant and Twi'lek lover, Elena, has a scar on her neck like someone tried to slice her throat. Basically, she questions Darth Malgus's ambitions for constant war in the name of the Empire. So, this is an important attribute of the character Darth Malgus. He is in search of constant conflict because he feels that this is the only true way to obtain power. So, in short, Malgus thinks that the Force itself is conflict, which is seen in the existence of the light and dark side, and that the Empire's conquest serves the Force itself. Now, Malgus and Alina then begin their attack on the Jedi Temple. As this occurs, Jedi Arrin and Master Sayo partake in a negotiating meeting on Alderaan between the Jedi and the Sith, which is nothing more than a distraction for the assault on Coruscant and the Jedi Temple. During the negotiations, Arrin senses something unsettling, and Sayo tries to calm her nerves. She remembers her master, Master Zalo, for inner peace and calmness. As Malgus begins his attack on the Jedi Temple, he has a standoff with Jedi Master Zalo as a reinforced dropship crashes into the temple, causing epic destruction upon the Jedi Temple. Now, numerous Sith exit the dropship and a huge battle erupts, and chaos ensues within the temple. As this is going down, Zerid meets up with Oren and explains how the drop went badly. Oren is suspicious of his story and he could care less about the ambush because, in the end, he only cares about the shipment Zerid left behind. And as a result of this, he makes Zerid pay for the lost shipment by doing spice runs, which Zerid hates because he was trying to do less dangerous things in order to be with his daughter, but at this point, he has little choice. Now, back at the negotiations, Arryn can sense the attack on the Jedi Temple. When the Sith were deployed out of the dropship that crashed into the temple, they were led by a character named Lord Adras, whom is Malgus's rival that he hates. Jedi Master Zalo then engages in an epic duel against Darth Malgus. The details of the fight are well written, and ultimately, Jedi Master Zalo is killed, and Arryn immediately senses the death of her master, and she knows that the negotiations are merely just a ploy. She then gives in to the dark side and attacks one of the Sith at the negotiations. Then, Jedi Masters Darnala and Zio reel her in and calm her down. When the Republic and the Jedi learn of the attack on Coruscant, Senator Amris is furious. The Jedi here are really depicted as a bunch of wimps and weaklings because they are willing to negotiate peace with the Sith as the attack on Coruscant goes down. Now, I believe that the Jedi were depicted as weak fools in order for the reader to empathize with Arryn, who feels this exact sentiment that the Jedi are basically cowards. Now, after Malgus defeats Zalo and many of the Jedi are killed, he watches Coruscant burn and the Jedi Temple is demolished. The Jedi then find out that the Chancellor has been killed, and Arryn is disgusted that the Jedi want to negotiate with the Sith, but the Master's reminder of all the innocent lives that live on Coruscant and that rely on negotiation for their survival. Now, as this is going down, Zerid goes to the planet Volta in order to see his daughter. As he flies there, Oren offers him a job that will pay off all his debts, which is to smuggle N-Spice, which is a chemically engineered spice, into Coruscant, which is basically a war zone. So this is going to be a very dangerous and difficult job. Now, Arryn is disgusted with the Jedi's cowardice, and ultimately she ends up abandoning the Jedi Order in order to avenge her master, Master Zalo. She wants to go to Coruscant and find out who killed her master. As this occurs, Darth Malgus is disgusted when he learns that Darth Angral is negotiating with the Jedi because he just wants to annihilate the Republic and all the Jedi. So, right here, we already begin to see the similarities between the antagonist and the protagonist. At this point in the story, our protagonist and antagonist are disgusted with their respective orders. Now, Darth Malgus feels betrayed and misled, and he feels that his warriors basically died for no reason other than to strengthen the Empire into a negotiating position. So we see here that there are similarities, again, between Malgus and Aaron, with both feeling betrayed by their belief in their affiliated groups. Now, we learned that Ziri's wife, Val, had post traumatic war syndrome and that she got into an accident when she crashed into another aircraft, which ended up killing her. And this is the reason why his daughter is handicapped because she was present during the crash and she basically suffered from those injuries. She became handicapped. Now, as Zirid recollects this, a smuggler named Vrath is plotting to steal the cargo from Zirid because the Hutts want the addicts on Coruscant freed from their reliance on their competitors' spice so they can be hooked on their spice instead, which will create a new market for the Hutts. Now, Vrath learned about Zirid's job through a mole in the Exchange criminal organization. Now, as this is going on, Darth Malgus goes to the Senate building in order to meet with Darth Angral regarding these pathetic peace negotiations. His rival Adras is present, and he politically outmaneuvers Darth Malgus with Angral by reporting first, by telling Angral that Malgus turned off his communications in order to be with his quote unquote woman Elena, whom Angral and Adras look down upon because she is an alien and his lover, which they view as a liability and a weakness. Now, the Empire views aliens as second class citizens. Now, Elena was injured in the battle within the Jedi Temple, and it turns out that Angral ordered the refusal of her medical treatment in order to prioritize humans. Adres calls her a whore, and there is a brief fight between him and Malgus in the Chancellor's office. Now, this whole scene was about Angral allowing Adres to make his play for Darth Malgus' spot in the hierarchy of the Sith, and Darth Malgus knows it. As this is going on, Jedi Kivo and Valen see Arin abandon her Jedi robes and leave in a ship. She knows that it will be extremely difficult to enter Coruscant because the Sith have it on lockdown, so she is going to try and find her old friend Zirid in order to help her get to Coruscant. Now, Darth Malgus goes to retrieve the wounded Alina from a Coruscant hospital and crushes anybody that gets in his way, and he ruthlessly pushes against the protesters and wounded civilians present. When he finds Alina, he wants to take her to his personal ship in order to get her medical treatment from proper facilities. Now, Alina calls Malgus by his real name in public, which is Veradun, and Malgus threatens to kill her if she ever does so in public again, because he believes that this sign of affection makes him look weak, and he cannot tolerate that. Now, Vrath learns about Zirid's daughter, Ara, and her aunt Nat, who is Zirid's sister in law, which is a secret that no one knows about because Zirid knows that his enemies would use this knowledge, the fact that he has a daughter, as leverage against him. Zirid buys his daughter a new wheelchair and she's very happy, but his sister in law knows that he is living a double life, specifically a life of crime, in order to support them, and she wants him to give up that life in order to be with his daughter full time because she feels that it's not worth the risk of dying and leaving his daughter alone without a father. Now, Vrath and Zirid cross paths, and Zirid immediately senses something off about him. Later, at his daughter's apartment, he thinks that someone is going to break in to her apartment and he fires blaster bolts at this person, but it turns out to be Aaron looking for him. Aaron then tells Ziri that she wants to go to Coruscant in order to find out who killed her master and assassinate this person. As this goes down, Angral orders Malgus off Coruscant in order to oversee the blockade, and this really upsets Darth Malgus because he feels like he has fallen out of favor with his superiors in the Sith hierarchy. Now, as this occurs, Wrath and his men follow Zerid and Aaron, and they can sense that they are being followed. Wrath realizes that the cargo is already on their ship, and they begin to attack Zerid and Aaron. A firefight ensues, but Zerid and Aaron are able to escape. They are going to sneak into Coruscant by basically piggybacking on an Imperial ship, similar to what Han Solo did in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, when Vrath realizes that Zerid is being accompanied by a Jedi, he decides to tell Darth Malgus himself about this by going to his Imperial ship. Malgus intimidates him with his dark side power, and he tells Wrath that he must remain on the bridge until the Jedi and Zerid arrive. Now, Darth Malgus senses their arrival but cannot find them right away. When their ship's weak electromagnetic signal is picked up by the Imperials, Zerid has no choice but to turn his engines on and attempt an escape. Darth Malgus identifies the ship immediately once its engines are turned on. At this point, Angral contacts Darth Malgus and tells him that the Jedi are aware that one of their own has gone rogue and that they may try to go to Coruscant, and that he is to treat this Jedi as if they are not part of the negotiation delegation. In other words, she is to be killed. Now, this little detail in the story is going to be very significant later during the climax to this story. Now, through holo transmission, Darth Malgus contacts Zerid's ship, and Aaron recognizes Malgus as a Sith. Malgus realizes that he has some commonality with Aaron because they have both been betrayed by their respective orders. Both want conflict and not to negotiate with their enemy. Malgus then decides to try and capture her rather than kill her. He basically defies his superiors. And Zerid and Aaron escape to Coruscant, but their ship gets damaged, and they have to abandon the ship and leave behind the cargo. And she uses the Force to create a cocoon as she uses her lightsaber to cut a hole in the canopy, and they fall together to Coruscant through the sky like skydivers. And this was such a very exciting and suspenseful sequence. It's almost like some terminal velocity drop zone kind of stuff. Like it, you really feel as you're reading this action sequence that it is impossible for them to survive, even though you know they're going to survive because Aaron can use the Force. But nevertheless, it was well written, and it was exciting, and most of all, it was dangerous. The author did an excellent job illustrating the danger of this situation, and I really appreciated it. Now, Darth Malgus gives payment to Wrath for providing him a Jedi, but there's a catch. He doesn't allow him to leave Coruscant. Now, Zerid and Aaron miraculously survive their descent using the Force, but they are injured. Malgus then decides that Aaron is hunting him. So he comes to that conclusion that Aaron is hunting him because he killed her master. Once he inquires about Aaron's identity through the Jedi archives, and he decides to take the initiative first and hunt her. Despite this, Malgus admires her for being not like the other Jedi and seeking revenge. At this point, Malgus sends Elena on a mission of her own. Now, Zerid then feels that he has to go and rescue his daughter. He starts to feel this sense of urgency because Wrath is consorting with Darth Malgus, and he knows that Wrath is the one who attacked him, at the spaceport, so he feels like he has to go rescue his daughter and sister-in-law immediately. And he knows that this is the guy. Wrath is the guy who saw him with his daughter during Malgus's hollow transmission. So this is how he comes to the conclusion, because during the hollow transmission that they had before they descended into Coruscant, he could see Wrath standing behind Darth Malgus. So Zerid fears for his daughter's life because Wrath knows of her existence. Now, Aaron then convinces Zerid that Wrath is still on Coruscant and that he needs to calm down and not be irrational in his decision making. They then work together to access who killed her master from the Jedi Temple. In order to access the temple, they have to go through the works, Coruscant's underground facilities, and there they discover a droid named T7, which was Zalo's droid. And T7 has Master Zalo's lightsaber. They access security footage to find out who killed Master Zalo, and Aren then sees Darth Malgus murder her master via security footage, and she watches the footage over and over and over as tears pour across her face and her heart breaks. She wants to use this anger and this pain that she feels, a dark seed, to yield dark fruit when she faces Darth Malgus. Now, Zerid then sees Elena at the spaceport, who, through the security footage he watched with Aaron, recognizes as Darth Malgus's partner during the attack on the Jedi Temple. Now, at this point, we learn that Aaron's father was murdered in the Jedi Temple in the past. So that's just a small, interesting detail that we learn at this point in the story. Finally, Darth Malgus confronts Aaron and they engage in an epic lightsaber duel in the temple ruins, and it was well written. The action was conveyed very well. Zerid and Aaron then escape, but Aaron does so reluctantly because she wanted to kill Darth Malgus, but she promised Zerid that she'd help him return him to his daughter. But before she flees, she swears to Darth Malgus that she will find a way to hurt him before killing him. Now, Zerid then tells Aaron that he saw Elena, and Aaron then contemplates killing her in order to hurt Darth Malgus. So we can see right here that Aaron is thinking like a Sith. She's thinking like a Darksider. She's thinking with hate. She really hates Darth Malgus, and she is going down the wrong path. Because of this, Zerid regrets telling her that he saw Elena, and he fears that Aaron will lose her soul by killing her. Malgus then realizes that Aaron is going to go after Elena, and he races to save her. So this is really nice because even though there's similarities between the protagonist and antagonist, they are basically the opposites as far as Darth Malgus is basically feeling light side feelings. He's feeling love. He's feeling compassion for Elena, whereas Aaron is feeling hatred. She's feeling that passionate fury to get even with Darth Malgus by hurting him. This is a very interesting dynamic that's occurring between both these two characters. Now, Malgus then learns the news that a peace treaty will be signed and that the Empire will be giving outlying star systems in exchange for Coruscant to be returned to the hands of the Republic. So, in summary, the Sith, the Empire, are going to be giving away outlying star systems in exchange for Coruscant to be returned to the Republic. So there is now peace between the Sith slash Empire and the Republic slash the Jedi. And as a result of this, Darth Malgus is furious and he feels betrayed. And he feels that the Empire and the Sith have become nothing but weak cowards because only through conflict can one be strong. Zerid then uses the droid T7 in order to open the cargo bay doors by staging a fuel leak evacuation procedure. Elena then discovers Zerid and Arin trying to escape on Vrath's shuttle, and a blaster fight ensues. Elena and Arin fight, and Elena is severely wounded by Arin during the battle. As Arin approaches to kill her, Elena tells her Malgus's real name, which is Veradun, and she can sense her anger, which she says is just pain renamed. And I really like that little line of dialogue right there. Elena then tells Arin that she loved Malgus, and she realizes that what she is doing is trying to hurt him by killing her. She then tells her that Malgus also hurts the ones he loves, thinking about how he almost killed her for saying his real name, and she tells Arin that she would have fought by his side like Arin fought by her master Zalo's side. Arin then changes her mind about killing Elena, realizing that this is not what her master Zalo would have wanted, and that she is basically going down the dark side path. Arin then tells Ziri to escape on Vrath's shuttle and go and save his daughter, and they share a passionate kiss before he departs. Now Zirid has no idea that the shuttle he is stealing belongs to Vrath, and that Vrath is basically asleep on board of the shuttle. And when Vrath wakes up, there was a nice fight between the two, and it was a pretty brutal battle because both are former elite soldiers, but ultimately, Zirid is able to knock him out. Now, as this goes down, Darth Malgus discovers Arin and the wounded Elena, and he is furious because Elena has been hurt. Arin tells him to allow Zirid's shuttle to depart in exchange for the life of Elena. Another epic battle between Darth Malgus and Arin ensues, but Darth Malgus ultimately ends up sparing Arin because she didn't kill Elena and she taught him something about himself. He tells her to leave, and that since the Empire will be making peace with the Republic, he will abandon the Empire and flee. Now, this lesson that Arin taught Malgus about himself is basically that he has found out that he has a weakness, he has a love, and he needs to purge himself of this love, which is about to go down at the end of this novel. Now, at this point, both characters see that they have much in common with each other, and this especially frightens Arin because she sees Darth Malgus as pure evil and she doesn't want to end up like that. He tells her that the Jedi ultimately betrayed her by telling the Empire that she would come and to dispose of her by not treating her as one of their own. Hurt by this, she too abandons the Jedi, and Zirid then, at this point in the story, jettisons Vrath into the vacuum of space, killing him because he can't trust him not to tell the exchange that he has a daughter. And as a result of this, Zirid feels guilty of murder and realizes that he is going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. At this point, Darth Malgus feels he must destroy the Jedi and defy the Empire. He also realizes how much he loves Elena, and he sheds a tear for her, and then he ultimately ends up killing her because he believes that he cannot have a weakness. He must destroy what he loves in order to be strong enough to cleanse the galaxy and destroy the Jedi and the weak individuals in the Empire and the Sith Order. Now, it's at this point in the story that we have a big time jump that happens. And after this, we return to Darth Malgus, as he returns from the unknown regions of space seeking Adras. Now, Darth Malgus uses his thoughts of Alina to fuel his rage, becoming more powerful. As Darth Malgus destroys the home of Adras and an epic duel ensues between them, but Darth Malgus is way more powerful than Adras, and he uses Force Lightning basically to cook the flesh off of him, practically leaving him blistering with burnt skin. He also cuts off his arm. He then begins to force choke him to death, but when he thinks of Alina and how she was insulted by him in the Chancellor's office earlier in the novel, he decides to kill him with his bare hands and he chokes the life out of him. He chokes him to death. This was punishment for attempting peace with the Jedi, he declares. Now, in the Outer Rim, on Dantooine, Zerid buys his sister-in-law Nat a new home and a vineyard for him and his daughter to farm on. And he's kind of sad at this point because he thinks that Arin ultimately died, since he knows that Darth Malgus lived their encounter, their face-off with one another. But out of nowhere, Arin arrives on the farm. She found Zerid because he always said that he wanted to be a farmer on Dantooine. And he is happy to be with Arin again because, in a way, he always loved her and they loved each other. And he's also happy because his daughter now has prosthetic legs, top of the line. Now, he doesn't tell Arin that he's a murderer, and it's a burden to bear, but he's happy that Arin didn't kill Elena because he doesn't want her to live with the guilt of being a murderer just like he has to. And this right here marks the end of this awesome novel, Star Wars The Old Republic Deceived. I thought the writing was outstanding. It was really engaging. It was exciting. The characters were awesome. I love how there's this dynamic between the protagonist and antagonist, how they are similar, mere reflections of one another, and how each character acts in correspondence to this. It was an exciting read, and I highly recommend it to every Star Wars fan. It is one of the best books I've read about a Sith in a long time. This is right up here with the Darth Bane trilogy and Darth Plagueis. I highly recommend it. An A plus easily. Thank you guys for listening to this review and in-depth analysis. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share. May the Force be with you. And last but not least, one love, people. Take care.